I'm here with Paul and Brian, and I'm Seth, and the three of us are about to do a workshop coming up on April 3rd. It's called Discovering Your Dynamic Center Through Breath, Movement, and Stillness. And I know I'm really excited about this. Just as a very brief introduction, I'll say that myself and Paul are Feldenkrais practitioners, and Brian is an instructor of the Wim Hof method. Maybe just knowing that many of people who pay attention to me know about Feldenkrais, I could go over to you, Brian, and can you tell us a little bit about what you're going to be doing during this workshop?
Yeah, so the focus for me, obviously, the workshop itself is focused around the breath and breathing, and that is one of the pillars of the Wim Hof method. If you're not familiar with Wim Hof and his method, I'd really recommend that you type that into Google and check him out, because he's a fascinating and crazy character who has been doing some of the most bizarre and wonderful things over the last kind of 40 years. And in the last 10 years or so, he's become quite well known for his method, which combines breathing exercises, cold exposure, getting into ice baths and frozen lakes and these sorts of things, along with a focus and a commitment to a certain practice. So what I'm going to be bringing to the workshop itself is some of the techniques that I've picked up along the way of my training as a Wim Hof method instructor, to try to take people into their bodies through deep conscious breathing. And we're going to explore variations of the technique that Wim himself taught me during my training. And really what this is about trying to experience something new, experience something that perhaps you haven't experienced before by using your breath. And our breath is quite literally a transformative tool. And I know this from firsthand experience. I have had my own life literally turned upside down through this practice, and having absolutely no concept of just how powerful it can be to build a relationship with your breathing and build a relationship with your breath. It's a genuinely a transformative thing. So what I hope to bring to the session is that through a combination of all of our practice is to try to kind of connect to the breath, even in a way that is new to me, so as much as anything, this workshop is an opportunity for us to combine our knowledge and our experience to start to see if we can find new layers of the breath, new layers of depth in the body and breathing it, just to see what happens. There's some unknown quantities here, which is super exciting for me.
Yeah, I agree. And breath is very big piece of the Feldenkrais method, and Feldenkrais presented many different ways of looking at the breath. But as you know, in my own experience, I have added the Wim Hof practice to my daily routine, which also involves doing awareness through movement, which is the form that Paul and I will be working with. And just what you said about experiencing a bit of the unknown has been really great for me, because it's a different approach to the breath than what I'm used to. And it's renewed this whole sense of just curiosity and enthusiasm. And that's kind of where the workshop started, was actually Paul and I were talking about, we like to talk about things that fascinate us and make us curious, but one of them was Wim Hof, and the two of you had collaborated once before. And maybe Paul, I don't know if you'd like to say something about that, and also about what you're planning to do during the workshop.
Well, I'll just share my excitement, with everyone to be able to do this workshop with you two, because I'm very fond of what you two have to contribute, to benefit others. Because I think, yes, we're talking about breath, but ultimately what really ignites the three of us is health. We're breathing in not only to survive, but seeing how we can play and welcome the unexpected, learning about our breathing in order to thrive and to really enjoy life. So I think that is what I'm most excited about. And Seth, you keep just impressing me with the amount of creativity you bring to your Feldenkrais teaching. And also like, you know, I can barely, like every day when I shower, I always finish with a cold shower because I know it's healthy for me. But like you two do ice baths, you running in the cold in DC, what was it? Like -2 or something, right? And I'm just like in awe. And I want to be a Wim Hof pursuer as well. And I barely get through just, you know, that cold rinse at the end. So I'm like, okay, there's something fascinating about our human potential, because that's also what we talk a lot about as Feldenkrais practitioners. How can we go and realize more of our human potential? And now I think this is the next step. See how I can not only, like with Feldenkrais, I just love how everything relates to the breath. You know, I'm moving the skeleton just by the knee, by the foot, and everything goes into this area, goes into your breath and affects your breath. So I love playing with that, using our kinesthetic awareness to open up the capacity to breathe better. But then how do you actually practice it? And I think that's what Brian, you know, I've experienced this with you, where in your sessions, to that fantastic playlist. So I call it cinematic breathing. That's my name for what Brian does. And it's really magical because it's just you bring us to such a trip with the quality of your playlist, your voice, you know, the words that you choose. And then afterwards, I remember on several occasions, like standing up, feeling so balanced. Like I felt the Feldenkrais-ness of your lesson. And that's why, you know, I was like, we have to bring Brian in with this mix, because it's going to be such a beautiful experience for everyone. Yeah.
Yeah, I think
Thanks,
this
Paul.
can. You want to add
No,
anything
it's
else?
true. It's true. I'm really, yeah, I love what the two of you two do. And yeah.
We should say at this point, perhaps, that although we will be bringing aspects of the Wim Hof method breathing to the workshop, we won't be doing any cold exposure as such. But what we might do is offer people the opportunity to learn a little bit about how we get to the stage that Seth and I are at, and how we move from the stage that Paul is at into some more cold exposure. And you know what? Guess what is the key? The key is the breath. So even though we use different breathing exercises as part of the method, getting into cold water, having a cold exposure experience, managing that experience is all about the breath. The breath is the thing that allows you to do that. So whilst we won't be, you know, diving into cold showers or icy lakes in the workshop, we will talk about it a little bit. So yeah.
Yeah, and I would say Brian's probably a bit further than I am with the ice baths and whatnot, but I've tried it. I think actually, though, just one more point about this, and it might be a good place to wrap up our little conversation, but it's really fascinating to me. Wim Hof himself talked about how he saw the cold as a teacher. And he describes how the first time he got into the cold water, how instantly his breath changed. And as Brian was just saying, you know, when we're dealing not just with cold, but with any stress, breath is a way that we can manage that. And that's one of the themes that I've been working with a lot in the current thing that I'm doing, which is a class series called Breathing for Resilience. But, you know, no one needs to be reminded how the last year has been just, you know, really challenging and full of surprises, and the need to adapt for all of us. And so I think one of the things that we've also talked about wanting to bring into this workshop, and we'll do this in the discussion as well, is just looking how in the course of everyday life, how the breath can help us to manage the ups and downs of things. So I just want to thank you both for chatting a little bit. And for anyone seeing this video, we'll put, you know, the registration information and a link nearby wherever you end up seeing this. It's Saturday, April 3rd. Make sure you double check the time zones so that the calculation is right, but we'll look forward to seeing you then.